Hello everyone, you are on the Transition channel. Our channel investigates a recent discovery that changes everything. Join us. And let's start our story from the beginning. In this film, you will see what official history hides behind convenient words. Why are cities all over the world buried? Why is Africa, once drawn green, now under sand? Why did mammoths die instantly, with grass still in their mouths? Ruinists argue. Catastrophists ask questions. But there has been no answer. Until now. We found it. A point on the map that explains everything. The GeoScar of Kuznetsov. From this moment, the history of Earth stops being a mystery. It fits together into one chain. Subscribe. This investigation will change what you believed in. When we talk about history, we imagine scholars, thick books, and the confident voice of a lecturer. We are told that history is a science. Dates, events, chronology, cultural processes. Everything is built like bricks in a wall, from the Stone Age to modern times. But the problem is that this wall keeps being repainted and rebuilt. Scientists love to speak about precision, yet compare versions of history from different eras. 50 years ago they said one thing, today another. Tomorrow they'll print a third. Convenient? Very. Take a simple example. In the 19th century, almost every traveler who wrote notes mentioned the oddity of old European cities. Doors sinking into the ground, half-basement windows, first floors below street level. Everyone saw it. These facts were recorded in engravings and early photographs. Today, millions of tourists walk by them. But official science explains it all with one short phrase: the cultural layer. And here begins the magic. The cultural layer. No one really understands how it works, yet everyone pretends to believe. Scientists say that over centuries, garbage, dust, and human activity raised street levels by several meters. Can you imagine? People drop waste under their feet, and suddenly the street rises to human height. Entire quarters are buried. But we're told it's just historical debris. Yet we see no traces of life there. Only a uniform, clay-like mass. To justify this, scientists even invented a formula: 1 meter of cultural layer per 100 years. Sounds solid, but there's a problem. Photographs from the 19th century already show buried floors. So, in just a few centuries, 2 or 3 meters accumulated. Either people then lived in impossible filth, or we don't know something. Engineers who built roads and sewers left reports. They wrote that under the streets they found arches, windows, stone facades, which means the covering layer appeared not gradually, but all at once. It's clear everything was buried suddenly. That's why in St. Petersburg, Prague, Kiev, or Soban, you see the same picture. The street level at the second floor, the first floor underground. We got used to thinking it's normal, but if you stop for a second, something doesn't add up. Fine, suppose cities were covered with trash. Then why outside the cities do we see the same picture, only on a larger scale? Look at the Eurasian steppes. Thousands of mounds from the Black Sea to Altai. Textbooks say burial sites. Sounds nice, ancient chiefs buried under hills. But some mounds are so huge that building them by hand for burials would be madness. Moreover, many have perfect geometry. Smooth slopes, flat tops, sometimes even traces of walls, corridors, or windows inside. Some archaeologists cautiously admit it looks like buried structures. But the official version still calls them graves. Imagine an entire city covered with dust, leaving only hills. Centuries later, archaeologists dig the top and say, "Oh, a burial site." Explanation complete. Let's move on. Today we associate Africa with the Sahara, an endless desert. But old maps show a very different Africa: rivers, cities, fertile lands. Scientists say, yes, the climate was different. But then why do satellite images show riverbeds thousands of kilometers long, as if giant flows of water once crossed the continent and then vanished?
If that's slow erosion, how do such massive channels exist? Why do the flow directions match, as if all water moved from east to west? It looks not like a slow process, but a single catastrophic release. Now, let's go far northeast, to the mammoths frozen in eternal ice. In their stomachs, undigested grass, meaning death came instantly. Scientists say the Ice Age. But try to freeze a herd of elephants fast enough for grass to stay green in their mouths. And they're found mixed with ice and clay, which means not only cold, but a shock wave, a front that threw them north. Now let's assemble this puzzle. Cities underground, mounds Africa under sand, mammoths. Science explains each separately, but what if they're all parts of one chain? Then the question appears, what caused it all? Look at the map wider. Not as a tourist, but as a geologist, or even as an astronaut. The Taklamakan Desert, in the center of Asia, between the Tian Shan and the Himalayas, lies a sea of sand. At first glance, just a desert. But its shape makes you think. These are not random dunes. It's a huge basin, as if something colossal hit the earth. Some geologists cautiously note the relief is abnormal. The mountains look swollen, and the basin seems carved out. The official explanation again: climate, winds, erosion. But what if this is not erosion, but the place where a celestial body touched the earth tangentially? Not a direct fall, but a sliding strike, after which it moved on. An erosion mark? Unlikely. An ancient volcano? Maybe. But to me, it looks like the trace a snowball leaves when it grazes a wall. And what does it look like to you? Write in the comments. Astronomers know space is full of comets. Not stone asteroids, but loose spheres of ice and dust. Huge, but light. When entering the atmosphere, they don't burn. They break apart. Now, the main thing. If a comet touched the Earth tangentially, it could leave a giant scar and still not destroy the planet completely. We looked through scientific papers, even asked ChatGPT,
And nothing. No one had noticed it. Nothing is known. But we can see it. We also see smaller traces nearby, as if connected to the same event. Maybe the comet split on entry. We named this trace the GeoScar of Kuznetsov. Sergei Kuznetsov is the researcher who first discovered and announced it. And here begins our investigation. To avoid blind guessing, we ask ChatGPT to help with calculations. We take numbers from visuals. Assume the comet's diameter is 400 kilometers, because the scar's width is about the same. Density, around 500 kilograms per cubic meter. Loose ice mixed with dust, a classical comet. Speed, 16 kilometers per second. Impact angle, 4 degrees tangential. We asked, what would happen if such a comet touched the Earth in Mongolia?
Its energy beyond imagination. Enough to change global climate. But because the strike was tangential, the energy spread differently. Our planet was lucky. Otherwise, life would have ended. After the contact, the icy body broke apart, creating a long scar and a massive corridor of sediments. Since a comet consists mostly of water, about 1.65 times 10 to the 19th kilograms, we can now understand why ocean levels rose by 15 to 17 meters. Old maps show seas and rivers shaped differently. Now we know why. The glancing strike cut off colossal layers of rock, even with moderate size. 2,000 kilometers long, 400 wide, 700 deep. That's millions of cubic kilometers of ground. That mass didn't vanish. Part went into the atmosphere, a global dust veil. Part settled nearby with comet fragments, forming a corridor from Central Asia through Iran and Afghanistan to North Africa. What do we see there now? Huge deserts. Average sand layer, several to dozens of meters thick. Where waters flowed, canyons. Where dust fell, desert. While entering the atmosphere, the comet dragged vacuum and cosmic cold. Temperature dropped within minutes. Animals froze on the spot. Mammoths stayed with grass in their mouths. Seconds later came the shock front. Frozen bodies thrown hundreds of kilometers north. That's why they're concentrated in Yakutia and northern Eurasia. Scientists know these facts, but explain each separately. Geologists, erosion. Zoologists, sudden cold. Historians, mistakes on old maps. Each defends his field, but no one connects the puzzle. If we do, cities, mounds, deserts, mammoths, maps, it becomes one story. A comet about 400 kilometers wide touched Earth near Taklamakan. Part of its mass stayed, raising oceans. Dust and clay buried cities. The deposit corridor turned Africa into a desert. The impact caused instant cold and extinction. Ancient chronicles and myths kept the memory of a star with a tale that changed life on Earth.
Taklamakan is not just a desert. It's the point of tangential impact. Here happened the event that flipped our planet's history. We call this place the GeoScar of Kuznetsov. It explains what science ignored for decades. But that's not all. The comet didn't enter as one solid mass. Its icy body broke apart in the atmosphere. We can see traces of 3 fragments. For ancient people, it was a grand sight. 3 glowing spheres, 3 tails, 3 fiery trails. The sky roared. The air trembled. To us, it would look like a cosmic show. To them, the coming of God.
That's why the symbol of the Trinity appears in nearly all cultures. In Christianity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In Eurasia,
the three-headed serpent. In Norse tales, three worlds. In Slavic legends, three heroes. The Trinity became a symbol because the Trinity came from the sky. People thought God arrived. Then came the strike. The comet slid along the surface. Millions of tons of rock and ice burst upward. A giant plume covered half the planet. Temperature collapsed instantly. The cold of space came down with the comet. Sudden freezing destroyed flora and fauna. Forests, steppes, valleys, gone in minutes. Animals grazing on warm plains were trapped in ice. Today, we stand on permafrost and speak of the Ice Age. But maybe it wasn't an age. It was one single day.
Among the Sumerians and Babylonians, comets were described as omens of disaster. When the tailed star appears, darkness and death come to Earth. Not poetry, observation. They saw catastrophe always followed a tailed star. In China, they made atlases of comets. They knew, when it appears, expect calamity. In the Americas, Maya and Aztec codices show tailed stars. The captions say, "After it appeared came plague and famine." Different words, same story. Their civilizations were far apart, yet the memory is identical. In the north, Russian chronicles describe a dragon falling from the sky. The simplest image for a shining body with a tail. After that, darkness and cold. Different peoples, continents, centuries. But the words are the same. Tailed star, bitter water, death and famine, dragon from the sky. It's one event seen by different eyes. We believe the epicenter lies in Taklamakan. Here, the comet entered and left its scar. This is not poetry. It's a real place. The relief, the scale, the direction, all match. And now, one last question remains. When? Subscribe to our channel to find out when the collision happened. What trees say about it. Where ice cores show sudden jumps. And how our calendar changed after the reset. The answers in the next films. Friends, if this was interesting and you feel history is not as clean as they tell us, share this video so more people can rethink the history of our planet.